Welcome back to another Conductor Sunday live stream. I'm your host, ThemePark Conductor, and today, me and Hollow Gelato, which I'll bring on just shortly, will be discussing some of the breaking news that has happened in the last 72 to 90 hours in the theme park community. But without further ado, let me just bring on the man, the myth, the legend, the spicy Italiano himself, Mr. Hollow Gelato.
How you doing, everyone? It's George, the Disney Italiano, host of the Hollow Gelato YouTube channel, alongside with Abby. We cover all things theme parks, Disney, Universal, Knott's Berry Farm, even Disney Cruise Line. We do a lot of life vlogs, event vlogs, even out of theater movie reviews. So definitely check us out on Hollow Gelato. And you could also follow us on Instagram under Hollow Gelato, and also my personal account, the Disney Italiano.
And it's always great to have Hollow Gelato. Me and him crush the live streams, and I love having them on. So the first thing I want to jump right into, because I want to this stuff gets me pumped up. Okay, so me and you, well, you first went to Disneyland, went to go see this animatronic, and then a day or two later, I went to the park with you and went to go see this animatronic. And there's some issues already happening, and I want you to walk us through what we're looking at, and this is courtesy from Mouse Info.
Okay, so with this new audio animatronic pirate that debuted, mind you, on June 26th, at the time of this live, it is now July 5th. As you can see, he's basically in beam mode, which means not moving at all. They just have him as the skeleton pirate, for which we are all used to seeing in this scene in particular. So luckily, the day that Conductor and I went for him to go see this in person, actually, I believe was the last day that the animatronic was functioning properly. And for the last several days, he's been stuck in beam mode. But now, on top of that, it seems like as if Disney removed the audio animatronic head and placed the actual skeleton head on, is what I'm assuming that has happened now. Because I guess, I don't know if there's issues that needs to be worked on the head itself. If I don't know if Disney is just seeing the scrutiny of everything that's been going on, because a lot of people have been posting memes and videos and TikToks of like making fun of this audio animatronic pirate. And I don't know, maybe Disney is just saying, okay, they don't care, they don't want this, let's just remove it. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. I don't think Disney would throw in the towel that quickly, but whatever it is, they're having issues with it.
Yeah. Well, see, something I said in my vlog, which is out on my channel now, is I do give credit for Imagineering to the fact that they built this animatronic. They spent the time and effort to build it. First of all, I just don't think it was the right place for it. And I know some people online were saying, oh, well, it's going to be a test for possibly future animatronics for the Coco Dark ride, possibly maybe even Infinity Defense, maybe Avatar. I could tell you right now, I just do not like the projected Muppet face. I just don't care for it, but I do appreciate that Imagineering is putting focus on these attractions that are decades old. I do appreciate the thought process behind it. I just don't think putting something like that was the best of ideas, because one thing I noticed when I was filming this scene on the vlog and then we went into the next room on the boat, you could still hear him making noises. And keep in mind, this thing doesn't talk. It doesn't have any vocals. It just makes noises.
He basically oohs and ahs like a monkey.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Um, so I don't know how I feel about it. I do. Let me ask you this. I know it's kind of hard because the image is not the greatest. I do give a big shout out to Mouse Info for trying to film it. Do you think they put back the old, skeleton that was there? Or do you think they replace its head? Or do you think it is the animatronic just in B mode? Because I'm not sure.
I think from what people were saying is that they replaced the actual head.
Uh,
I can't foresee how they would do that, but the placement of how the body looks like the audio animatronic. So if I had to guess, I would say it's still the audio animatronic on B mode. I don't
yeah,
think they actually like physically took him out. I just think they just have him as the skeleton.
yeah. No, 100%. I totally agree with that. So I don't know. I don't know if that's you know Disney realizing they might have made a mistake with this animatronic. I don't know if it's the fan pushback, but in all reality, I think it's a good thing that they're pushing back now. Because think about it. They built Coco, okay, and they have a whole army full of these animatronics in that ride with this technology. You can imagine the uproar people are going to have.
Well, and speaking of that too, as you had said, this is just one. And whether he's working or not, it doesn't hinder the ride. You do this with Coco or Avengers, it then ruins the whole experience because you're having multiple of these audio animatronics that's carrying the storyline of the ride itself. And and as I had mentioned before, when I did my video with Scott Gustin, that he said that he actually got to see this audio animatronic up close in person before anyone even knew about it, and what have you. And he said that to him and the technology that's used behind this particular audio animatronic does not complement the technology. The technology that actually they were trying to go for with this is the same kind of tech that they showcased on, we call it Imagineering, with the cuts, the bruises, the scars, the crying, the blushing. It's supposed to be realism of adding extra layers to the face. It's not supposed to be what they went here with the pirate. I don't know why they went that route, especially since they just removed um the facial projection off of the Frozen characters down in Epcot. I As I said, I'm very curious to see how the new tech works, but for me, I can't really call this new tech because it doesn't seem like it is new. It just seems like the typical facial projection that they used for the Seven Dwarfs in Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in Frozen Ever After that they now replaced. I don't know. I think honestly that until they get it right and know that it works, I wouldn't be using that kind of tech until it's ready for prime time.
Yeah, I personally for me, I'm very curious on if they can kind of work out the kinks with this thing before they start putting these type of animatronics into Coco, because that's going to be where I believe one of the newer attractions at DCA is going to have the most of them. So I'm kind of curious what type of kinks they need to work out, because there's going to be quite a bit of them. You can't have You can't have the projection map face not engaging. And I kind of feel like it making sound effects, yeah, it's great, but is it awesome? No. I'd rather it talk to us, interact with us, and it wasn't even doing that. So again, I give all kudos in the world to Imagineering. I just don't think it was placed in the right spot, and it wasn't ready for prime time
Mm-hmm.
the way
Absolutely.
they thought. So that's what I think. And we got Remy D in the house. Good to see Remy D.
What's
We
up,
got
Remy D? David, welcome in. Everybody, Abby, Spencer Walker. Thank you all for joining us. John, make it rain.
absolutely always John. Um, so I want to kind of
Really quick. Sean Narani, welcome in, by the way, Sean. I would rather Disney take a risk and fail than not take risk and push the boundaries.
I see. I agree, Shane Narani. I 100% agree with you. That's why I give kudos to Imagineering because of that reason. I just don't, like George said. We had this technology, not maybe not the updated version we have now, but we had this technology with animatronics in the Frozen After ride at Epcot, and all we got half the time is either the Microsoft logo or no face whatsoever. I've seen clips in the last couple days where they've shown Olaf, where he has the projected eyes and his eyes are all whacked out. So I kind of agree with George. I would think they want to learn their lesson and not incorporated that technology again, but they did. So I do agree with you, Shane. I think a lot of kinks still need to be worked out with this. And if these animatronics are going to be heavily incorporated into the Coco ride, they have a lot of R&D and fixing to do before we see that, hopefully. Maybe we'll get further clarification at D23, so who knows. But jumping across the park to DCA. This is from Boardwalk Times from Zach, and he it shows 4 pictures Walt Disney Imagineers inside the show building for Avengers Infinity Defense. I have to I have to ask you questions, George. I'm like, okay, we're looking at the roof or the ceiling, whatever it might be. What's your thoughts on this?
So, first off, I just have to say, here's my thought process on it. Picture this.
Oh,
A woman is pregnant in 2019. Okay? She's pregnant.
okay.
Fast forward to now, we're in 2026. The child that she was pregnant with in 2019 is now 7 years old. And this thing is still not up yet.
Yeah. Yep.
So just had to throw that little tidbit in there. That's how long we've been waiting for this expansion for Avengers Campus. But
Oh my god.
in any case, I also have to add, as another side note too, that Disney had confirmed that they're getting the cast members together that are working now operationally of how they're going to handle guest flow in and out of both of the attractions of Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab. So the fact that they're already having a gameplay in motion of how they're going to handle this tells me that the ball is rolling. However, looking at these photos now, I mean, they could really move. I mean, it depends on like how fast they decide to move, but I would have thought that they would have had a lot more kind of done interior wise. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but then again, they did just seal it up not too long ago, but it was a skeletal for like the skeletal structure for quite some time, but I don't know. It still seems like they have a long way to go.
They do. And the mere fact, and not to just disappear from the screen for a second, but I do have to point this out. So a good friend of the channel, Mam Lizelle, wanted to remind me that we are, oh, I don't know what happened. Well, I can read it to you. 39 days. 39 days from D23. 39. Okay, so picture that just for a hypothetical standpoint. Do you think at D23 for the parks panel, since we all kind of have this mindset to a point that they're going to be doing a lot of update announcements and clarification announcements about all the projects that were announced in 2024, maybe a little bit of surprises here and there, but nothing huge. Do you think that because they made this announcement with the ride operation teams that's going to be handling guest interaction day-to-day operations, that we might hear further details at D23 and maybe better insight to both attractions?
I think with this project in particular, I think we're going to get a more structured time frame on when we're going to see the opening. I don't think they're going to give us a date. I don't think we're going to get a date because Cosmic Rewind and Tron were more further along than this, and they still waited to give us an opening date further on. Hell, we're still waiting for an opening date for Fast and the Furious, and the whole thing's completely built, which, I mean, that's a whole nother story in itself. But with this in particular, I think we're probably going to get either like where they say like summer 2027, fall 2027. I think that's where we're going to get the startup detail of when we can see the time frame when Avengers Campus is going to open. Now, here's the other caveat to that. Is this expansion of Avengers Campus opening all at once?
I was just going to ask you that, because the mere fact that one of two attractions, and I just want to bring this up real quick. Shane Narani says, we know Conductor is excited when he is counting down the days. You better believe it. You better believe it. But one of the attractions being Stark Flight Labs, which seems like an easy attraction to build, install, and get up and running. Do you think that we could see that attraction go up first and open first?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Stark Flight. I think Stark Flight Lab, the merch, and maybe another like quick service restaurant and stuff, I think will go up. Which could maybe be early as 20, not super early because we only got a few months left and I don't think they're that ready yet. But I think with the Kuka arms, they can get and install pretty quickly, depending on the placement of where it actually is, beyond those blue walls. But I cannot foresee Infinity Defense being done until later on in 2027, like the back end of the end of the year.
No, 100%. And John Make It Rain actually makes an interesting point. It looks a little warehousey to me. And it actually does, because if many of you don't know, I work at Costco Wholesale. So I work at one of the warehouses, and this screams Costco to me. This screams Costco. And you know what's even more funny and more just laughable is the mere fact that I seriously want to believe they contacted Six Flags and say, who's your manufacturer for the trellis system that you use for your entrance? Because that's what we want to incorporate in the ceiling for Stark Flight Labs.
Okay, so I want to kind of like put both John's comments kind of together with this. He says, screw the quick service. That sounds so gimmicky. Give a nice lounge or restaurant. Now, actually, I do agree with you, John. I think honestly, to have another quick service when you're going to have Pim's Test Kitchen right across the way, I think is kind of overdoing it. But I just don't know if Disney has that. I know they have the room. I'm just trying to think like how like they would place it. But so, and then the second part, he says 39 days until new ride announcements, not updates. Well, okay. So the thing with that, John, is we may get a few. And when I say a few, I mean like there could be a handful of new announcements, but they're going to have to update us with all this stuff. They can't leave us hanging in the winds for over 2 years and not give us any updates. However, and the reason why I'm combining both of your comments is because you had mentioned about a nice lounge or restaurant. Maybe that could be a new announcement that surprises us at D23. Maybe we're all in the assumption that it is going to be a quick service, but maybe it's not. Maybe it will be a nice lounge bar kind of area that they add into. Because I think I have heard that there were times, you know, where they had the stunt show with Black Widow and Black Panther up at the
Oh, of
top.
course. Yeah.
I heard that they could possibly be thinking about making that like a bar lounge area and have like outdoor seating on the upper level kind of thing. So yeah, that would be kind of cool, I think. That would be
I,
a nice surprise.
I think so. You know, it wouldn't shock me at all though with another sit down location. And I think they could make it like they could build one if they really honestly wanted to, because that's the best part of our Imagineers here that cover the Disneyland Resort is they know how to play the chess game. You know what I mean? It's all
Mhm.
moving pieces compared to Walt Disney World where you could just throw something somewhere and say, "Oh, here you go," and they don't have to worry about moving puzzle pieces to make it fit. So,
Mhm.
um,
I'm gonna answer, even though this is kind of like off the subject of what we were talking about, but I do want to answer his question. Remy D's, is Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift one of the slowest coaster developments for Universal? By the time it opens, it will be several months, over 3 years. So yeah, for Universal, I would think this was like kind of the slowest for any attraction, not even just for a coaster. Because usually Universal gets things like up and moving. The fact that this is going to be one of the fastest coasters, speed wise, it's not as fast as getting it opened operationally. I know with Tron at Walt Disney World, you know, that took some time, but we had the pandemic that was going on and what have you, that delayed a lot of things. But even with that, Universal was building Epic Universe and clearing land at that time during the shutdown.
yeah,
So they were still, getting things done. Yeah. So for this being one individual ride and it just being a roller coaster, this is one of the slowest moving times for Universal to get a ride open. I'm convinced that Orlando's is going to open or almost be completely done before this thing opens because I was just at Universal a couple days ago and they were testing the coaster and they had team members on it. A lot of people were messaging me saying that they could possibly do a soft opening or something actually on the 4th of July. And sure enough, the day that they were testing, which was the day before the 4th of July, um, the ride breaks down with team members on it. They were stuck on it for over an hour. They had to get them off. They had to bring the vehicles back into the loading station. I personally think that the type of coaster that this is and how it is placed on a mountainside and all the drama and the headache that Universal had to go through with the unforeseen death in Stardust Racers down in Florida, I just think there's a lot more operational issues internally with this coaster that just keeps on delaying them. Because I believe, Conductor, it was you that told me it went on the website, it said summer 2026 to just saying closed.
Yeah. And then they reverted it right back to
Right.
summer 2026. So it's almost like a shell game with that. So I agree with you because it seems like
I
uh,
told I told Tommy, I was like, I really wish that they would just remove the summer 2026
yeah,
because we only have a little bit of window before we start getting into Halloween Horror Nights, before we start getting into Grinchmas. We only have like a several dates for them to open this for it to count. I really wish that they would just wait, take care of business, and open it up in January, February around the time that they did Super Nintendo.
100%.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, no, 100%. I want to ask you about this though, and it just popped in my mind. Okay, so back like a month or two ago, Orlando, with their Monstropolis, they had content creators, from the media list, go on site and
Mhm.
see updates to Monstropolis, in Hollywood studios. Do you think that is something that Imagineering and Josh Tomorrow himself might be incorporating in future projects like this, Coco, Avatar, so on, and in the future? Do you think that would be a possibility?
Well, I was going to bring it up to him yesterday, but his team had to pull him away. I didn't even have a chance to ask my questions. But
Speaking of that real quick, but go ahead. I'm just I'm just gonna play this for you all as George made his first attempt, and I mean his first attempt. He's gonna go for a second attempt at D23 day, but this was his first attempt. But go ahead, George.
so yeah, so this was actually right after the flag retreat ceremony. And I saw Josh was present. He was here at the for the ceremony, and I waited for it to be opened. For him, they removed the ropes and everything, and I beelined to him. Like I waited, so I followed him, and I called him out. He didn't hear me. I gave him a little tap on the shoulder, and then he turned around and he shook my hand and said "Happy Fourth" and everything. But yeah, he had to get going. But just the fact that I got him on camera, I got him, shaking my hand, wishing me a happy Fourth, and would have you. But yeah, I'm gonna keep trying. I got D23 coming up, so it's
Hey, dude, hey, I give you all the kudos in the world. You got him. You
yeah,
got him. So I'm happy that you did though,
yeah.
because I kind of feel, I don't know. I get he's the CEO. I understand that. Believe me, I do. I'm just kind of shocked that he didn't tell his security detail, whatever you want to call him. I'm surprised that he didn't mention them. Hey, I'm going to talk to a couple guests and whatnot. That's what I like to do, because I kind of feel like Bob
Well,
Iger.
he did. Well, he did do like actually prior to the
Okay,
flag retreat, and I feel like that's where I made a little bit of a boo boo. Was because I should have went over before the ceremony.
ah,
Because he was standing there a little bit more, even though they were kind of talking amongst themselves. I think I could have got a little bit more out of him had I approached him before, not after.
sure.
But now I know for next time. You learn from your mistakes. Um, but I did overhear him say to one of his members, he's like, "If someone stops me, he's like, I'm going to say hi." He
Oh
did.
yeah,
He did. I did overhear him say that, so I give him kudos to that. Also, too, who was there yesterday was Ken Potrock. Ken Potrock was there, and the I forget her name, the new president of Disneyland. She was there with her husband, and I think her 2 sons. It looked like it was her 2 sons,
Interesting.
and she was mixed in the crowd. Like, Abby and I were in line for Haunted Mansion, and we see her walking up with her husband. They're eating churros. They're like walking the park, and she's in her jeans and in her sneakers and everything. And I thought it was funny. Abby was like, I bet they're still designer jeans, but still, we give credit where credit's due. It's like, actually, all 3 of them were in like relaxed attire, and
Interesting.
see what question. Really quick, Remy D says, "What question would you have asked him, George, if you got the opportunity?" Ooh, good question.
If you had one question.
What was that?
If you had one question.
One question. My one question. Well, okay, so I would have a question, and I would have a like example statement, like idea. So my idea would be what you brought up about, like, why not showcase this more, where you can have guests go behind the scenes, have it be 21 or older or 18 or older. You have to sign something off. You got to give like all your social media accounts and everything, so that they know that you're not leaking anything out. And it
Sure.
could be a paid tour, or it could be through D23. So I was going to suggest that to him. I'll be like, and the company would be making revenue from it. Just saying. My question would be, I know this kind of sounds cliche, because obviously I would only ask this question if he was to give me an honest answer, which we know as a CEO, he probably wouldn't give me the straight answer. Is, are we ever going to see a day where the parks have no reservation system?
Mm.
And that's probably what I would ask him in that way. Not like, when are we going to? I think my question is, are we ever going to?
100%. I think my question would be, being that D23 is so close, I think I would ask him, are we going to see you on stage at the Parks panel on the 15th? That's what I'll ask him.
Good question. And really quick too, Abby's thing, because we saw them. Her husband grabbed her butt. They were walking away. The ceremony was going, and he had like this Hawaiian shirt on and everything. He was a good looking guy, but man, he like grabbed onto her ass and gave her a little smack. And I'm like, oh dang, she got some game. Like,
Jeez Louise, must be nice. Oh my gosh. And then Shane Narani asks, has Infinity Defense started in closing yet? I think on the backside.
Yeah, I think in certain sections.
Yeah. I think certain sections, not all of it though, has enclosed yet. So I think that's what my question would be, if he's gonna be at the Parks panel.
Yeah. Now here's the funny thing. Josh was there. The new president of Disneyland was there. Ken Potrock was there, which I was very surprised to see him. I actually was going to go up to him and actually shake his hand too. And right as I was about to, because he was talking amongst a little group, and they were like really like talk. I didn't want to interrupt, because that's one thing that I won't do. But unfortunately, I couldn't catch him. But anyway, but who was not there was Thomas Maslam.
I was just gonna say that, because he's overseas right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's at he's at Disneyland Paris, or is he at one of the Asian Disney parks?
He's somewhere. Yeah. But I would think if he wasn't overseas, he probably would have been here, I would assume.
I just, to be honest with you though, I find it funny that all the top execs are there. It makes me wonder if they, after, they went backstage and all that stuff, if they stopped over to the convention center.
They probably did, because, well, I think Ken went into the Lincoln Theater with his group of people, but that was also the same direction Josh was going. So I don't know if they took them through the back like the backstage area through the theater. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if they went over to the convention center, or if they went back up to Burbank or Glendale
Who
or what
knows?
have you.
Well, the next thing I want to talk about, this is going to be soaring across America here. I have the video pulled up. I want to get your step-by-step reaction. It's only a 6-minute video,
Mm-hmm.
but for anyone that hasn't seen it, it is a spoiler, but you guys have probably already seen it because Walt Disney World has had it for way too long. I don't like that point.
Really quick before you play it, before we can go to the next thing. Remy D asks, how tall is the building at the Infinity Defense's highest point? Do we know?
That I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but it's getting very close to topping over the mountains of Radiator Springs Racer, or like Radiator Springs. Like, I mean, in certain areas of that land, you can see the Infinity Fence, the building peaking up. That's how tall it is. So yeah, it's pretty tall. I don't know like the exact measurement, but it's tall. And then
Okay.
Shane Narani says, I wonder if Ken Potrock will be at SoFi Stadium with the World Cup going with what his title is.
That it could be. It very well could be. I always liked Ken. I thought he did phenomenal when he was president at Disneyland.
I thought
He-
so.
yeah, so, but you know what? I actually have some high hopes after actually seeing, because Abby asked me, she was like, who's the blonde that is like hanging around? Like, she has her own posse and everything. And I'm like, I don't know. And then when she turned around and I looked at her and I'm like, oh, I said, I think that's the new president of Disneyland now, because she kind of gives off a Laura Dern kind of feel. That's who she
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of.
And we actually got to see her, not in person, but when they did the debut video for Frozen in Disneyland Paris.
Mm-hmm.
And Olaf kind of walks in between her and what's the guy's name? Michelle, I think. And now he's the Disneyland Paris president out there.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
that was
say?
her.
So yeah, and then yeah, sorry, you brought up Kev's thing.
Sure.
Yeah, there was an expo at the convention center this weekend.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe they might have hopped over there, maybe whatever like what else was going over there, but what's up, Mademoiselle? And a firework at Angel Stadium launched into the stands. Oh man, hope everyone was okay.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna play this. No music, because I don't want to get slapped with a copyright. But
Of course, that infamous Jerry Goldsmith score, which is really good score, by the way.
Oh, by far. So I did like that Patrick Warburton did reprise his role,
Mm-hmm.
but he's kind of like now captain. I did like that. Now my whole thing is when we saw the little clip he did, and it was the whole intro with him, you know, as he is today, and not this old style. If memory serves me correct, when you were at D23 2 years ago, they showed the whole intro with Patrick Warburton, but it was him today.
Well, no, what that was, he actually opened the park's experiences.
Oh, he did.
So yeah, so he actually was this character, and he kind of did his spiel, but for the convention center.
Gotcha.
So that I thought was really cool. But yeah, what they did for here was he kind of reprised his role. He's captain, and he was like, and then you're going to hear some safety information by a handsome devil of a man or something, however he said, and it's a younger version of him. I thought that was really cool, and kind of like how Patrick can kind of utilize his like comedic timing with that. But I actually got to see Patrick, Abby and I in person. We didn't get to meet him, but we got to see him in person because he was up at the El Capitan for the anniversary. Was it the 25th anniversary for Emperor's New Groove?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So,
But I have to say, for the ride itself, I was very, very pleased and satisfied with it overall.
I thought so. And I know this is going to be controversial, but I have to bring it up. I have to. Does this version give Soarin' Across California a run for its money?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that with some probably with some scrutiny behind it. I think it does. And the reason why Soarin' Over California is classic. It's classic. I think if they were to spruce it up and kind of update California, I think it would be top tier. I think it's just because they utilize like an older camera system and everything, and it's very, you could tell it's very outdated and what have you. But I love how the movement of the gliders that we're sitting on move well of what we're seeing on screen. Everything is so crisp. I got to do the ride twice, and I actually got the second time I got to sit on the end, like the side. And I was very curious about that because anytime you sit off to the side, the optics look very off. And I have to say that was not the case with this.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Madame Lizelle says, I kind of want them to keep America.
I do too, actually, because I actually had a conversation with Mademoiselle when we were at the park. And even though that they call it America, that they cover all like the national like location landmarks.
Sure.
And it kind of fits in with Grizzly Peak. It's very outdoorsy. It's like open wilderness kind of thing. It covers that. I would be fine if they kept it. And they don't even have to just call it America. They could have just called it America like because of the 250th, but they could call this, Soaring Over, they could rename it if they really wanted to, but I would really hate with this newer technology for them to work backwards and bring back World. Yeah. I really would. I'm not a fan of World. I think the only way it fits is if you're in Florida and you go on it at Epcot.
Yeah. Now,
I actually like America, California, and then World. That's how I like it in order.
No, 100%. I kind of felt filming this, and that I do commend the Imagineer team that worked on this, because I was one of the very first writers to experience it the morning they debuted it. And one thing I always appreciate from the Imagineers that work on, whether it's an overlay, a lengthy refurbishment on the ride, or a lot of things, or a brand new ride, is that the morning of the grand opening of it, you have all the Imagineers at the exit that worked on this ride greeting you and saying thank you for experiencing the attraction. And that's one thing I love about it. I love that Imagineers do that, because it shows that they care, and not just that they care, they appreciate you riding the ride that they probably spent hours and hours and hours working on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they could like alter that. The ending, like where it shows like the American flag, because it's like for the 250th, like they could always just re-add like regular fireworks like after the 250th is over.
Yeah. And Remy D says, imagine this ride at the Spear in Las
Mm.
Vegas. That would be really cool.
And
Um,
extending it, making it more longer, add more scenes and stuff. That would really be cool. I
a
wish
whole-
Disney would just kind of make like a Sphere theater just in general. That would be really
I-
cool.
that would be really cool. And Kaylin ID, I don't think you've ever been on the live stream before, so welcome in. Thank you for joining.
Oh,
Uh,
what is that? Kalani? Kalani?
Kalani, thank you for joining. He says uh, a new version of Soarin' Over California would be awesome. I think they should do it.
Yeah.
They should. I personally think they honestly should.
Then I would be okay if this goes away. If they brought back, and really Soaring Over California should be the permanent stay at DCA anyway. I don't know where World fits in the
Sorry,
dynamics of DCA. I really don't.
sorry about that. I'm second. I'm second row. I'm not the top tier row. That's why you're seeing feet. It's okay. You just pretend you didn't see that. I'm just kidding. Shane Narani says, I think they should stop doing icons, the Statue of Liberty and the Eiffel Tower, because that is when they use the touch ups. What do you think about that?
Um, I mean, I think like when it comes to the Statue of Liberty, I feel like because you bypass it so quickly, I think I'm okay with that. But I do agree with you, like with the Eiffel Tower. I think it's showcased like so much on the screen for a very long time. Then that's when you
Sure.
start like running into like those like optic issues and stuff and how
Yeah,
it looks visually.
100%. You know, I'm kind of wondering if they could come up with other versions. Like, I mean, completely other versions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In
Oh
general.
yeah, I think they could. And really, I think now that they got the technology kind of down, I think this really showcases really well and how they could update the ride vehicles that, as I said, to match the screen. There's no holds bar now. Like they could turn this into anything really.
Oh yeah,
It
100.
actually, and I have to say, and a lot of people who know me, they know how much that I'm like Soren is okay, but it's not my go-to kind of thing. And I was okay for them to, if they were to, us to wake up one day and say, hey, Soren's going to be replaced completely, I would have been okay with it. After this, honestly, it makes me want to go on this ride.
Yeah,
So kudos to Disney and the Imagineers. They successfully achieved the notion that for me, a ride that I wasn't going to go on really too much anymore, they brought me back. And I think even a whole new generation of people to experience Soren.
well,
Remedy says, do you guys think 2025, 2026 is the best 2-year period of Disney Plusing ever? Test Track, Soren, Big Thunder, Buzz Lightyear, Smuggler's Run, Muppets, Rock and Roller Coaster, etc. Absolutely. This was like the 2-year gap for the plusing period. And honestly, I think this was the best time to do it because with all these bigger projects going on and we don't really know too much about them yet, as I said, hopefully we get further details and clarification at D23. And eventually, like when they are done, people are going to want to go on those rides. When Coco's done, when Avengers are done, Avatar, whatever with that. Uh, Piston Peak, Villains, Monstropolis, like everyone's going to be so geared towards the brand new toy, so to speak.
yeah.
But up until then, while we're waiting, I love how Disney spruced up their already popular attractions and gave us something a little new out of it.
100%. I totally agree with you. And speaking of Avatar, we're gonna jump into that actually, but um, but I wonder if this is going to be a trend though. Think about it for a second. I wonder if between all the things they announced in 2024 for both resorts, Walt Disney World, the Disneyland Resort, if in between these massive attractions being built and constructed, they go back and touch up attractions that maybe aren't hitting the mark with guests as much as they used to, and kind of giving them a bump up, a step up, while these big attractions are being built. So I could see that.
Yeah, and I think honestly, to majority of the ones that Remy Dean mentioned, I think they're kind of like, because Buzz Lightyear was like okay, but they kind of gave like a newer kind of rendition to it. Rock and Roller Coaster was completely outdated, added the Muppets. Smuggler's Run, you know, it's still not there for me, but I appreciate Disney, still adding, Mando and Grogu, and anything with Grogu, is popular enough. Test Track again with Soren, and then Big Thunder. I think like Magic Kingdoms definitely needed a little bit of some TLC, opposite of Disneyland's. So yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah, no, 100%. Um, I had some thoughts on this, and I know Avatar's getting overblown up with discussion and all that, but it's interesting because this was posted by mickeyvisit.com, and some updated details about Avatar, because they're slowly going to start working on the Eastern Gateway, which don't even get me started on that. That's taking way too long. My whole thing is looking at this land right here, because you actually pointed out some things. Looking at this, and there's actually a better picture where he has a better zoomed in picture. But this area right here, you're thinking, and you told me this before we started the live tonight, you're thinking this is where the food trucks are in the Hollywood backlot, which would be the restaurant, possibly.
Rough, yeah. I would say like that location is where they had like the food trucks parked outside, and that is either the quick service that's going to go in, or restaurant. I would like for it to be an actual sit down restaurant. I think Disneyland needs more of those.
Yeah.
Or the merch shop. So, and I was mentioning it's either one or the other, either on both ends. One is the merch, one is the food.
No, 100%. Let's see. I'm just doing some real quick for part on the Walt Disney World stuff during this live. My whole thing is, I understand that they want to build this land with one attraction. I understand that. My whole thing is, I want to see Disney maybe, build the one attraction like they're planning on, but make the infrastructure prepared for the second attraction to go in. And what scares me is that possibly they're going to put in a spinner ride, because Disney's notorious for doing that, as a filler attraction. I get it. We need filler attractions here and there to kind of accommodate the bigger attractions. I understand that. But I kind of
But
feel
in
like
Avatar and Pandora, that's gonna. I don't know how they would do that. Would look so out of place. I mean, this thing's already going to look out of place, but
yeah.
I just don't know how, if they do, I don't know how they got away with that with Cameron.
Yeah, I don't think it's such a good idea. I really honestly don't. And then
That's why I want updates. I
yes.
want to hear news, because like, what was the point of them even making this announcement if they're not going to give us anything on it?
No, 100%. And that's what I'm concerned about myself. Because again, it's vague detailing. And I appreciate them trying to hold it close to the chest and not reveal too much, because maybe they finally listened to me and you, and one of the execs watched one of our lives, and probably they're thinking, okay, we revealed too much at too soon, so we're going to hold off. I
But
understand
here's the
that.
thing: they already crossed that point when Iger made the announcement on the earnings call or the shareholders call. Once he made that announcement that they were going to do this,
Yeah,
and they had to hurry up and scrounge up some sort of concept art, we were surpassed all that. So
100%.
now we're almost 4 years in with still no concrete details on this thing.
No, no, and that's what kind of
And it
concerns me.
took 6 years to go from announcing to opening, announcing to opening Pandora in Animal Kingdom. They announced it in 2011. They opened it May 27th, 2017.
That's crazy.
So we are almost 4 years in and nothing. We know nothing about it. They haven't even moved dirt yet. That's why honestly I don't think it's going to be on. I hate to say this. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong, folks. I
Sure.
just can't foresee this being on the same scope as the one in Florida. And that's why they're avoiding calling it a land. They're saying experience, they're saying destination. It's anything but a land
Yeah.
because it's not a land. I'm sorry.
I'm starting to tilt back that way. I kind of backed off from that idea of thinking for quite some time, but now it's starting to pique my interest again. And the fact that we're only 38 days out from D23, and at some point we don't hear anything about Avatar at that parks panel, that's going to scare me. That is literally going to solidify my thinking on what in God's name are they doing? Why? What's the mentality behind that? If and I've told others this that are honed in on this going into the Hollywood backlot. I said, if we do not hear anything at the parks panel, that is going to further solidify that, first of all, they don't know where they want to put it. And second of all, they're having, serious doubts about this location, and they might have overstepped their boundaries. And again, I've talked to people from, Orange Go 55 to Hey Bricky to, other people that have people on the inside of Imagineering, and they all say, no, Disney said it's going here. We've heard it's going here. I hope I'm wrong.
Well, and I talked to Scott Gustin. I mean, like, there's no reputable source than
Yeah.
Goat himself. Even he said that it's concrete. This is where Avatar is going to go.
But see, that's what concerns me though, because when you think about it, at the parks or at the convention 2 years ago, you and Orange Grove 55 at the time looked at the scale model along with everyone else, and you all came to a conclusion at one point or another that the model would look like it was not even completed. Like it
Oh,
was.
it wasn't. There was no model. It was one. It was like half of that spiral mountain thing, and they had like all paint brushes and little paint palette things around it. There was like nothing there.
Wow. Now I have to ask you before jumping to the East Coast projects. I do
Mm-hmm.
have to ask you, do you think it's even remotely possible? And I'm being serious. I'm not trying to cast negativity or anything like that, but possible that after the parks panel, after the entire weekend, if we don't hear one lick of news about Avatar at all, and then days after, which again, Disney's been notorious for doing this, they might announce that Avatar is either canceled or they're going to relocate it somewhere at the resort.
They still can. I mean, I think honestly, even though they're saying it still is, things can change on a dime. And this is where I agree and somewhat like disagree with what um Scott had mentioned when he said about, because we were talking about, like I said his thoughts like with Zootopia um coming into that location.
Sure.
And um he said it's not out of the realm that they couldn't do it. But he said if they did decide to do that, that would kind of make Disney look like they kind of don't know what they're doing, that they would make an announcement like this and then backtrack it.
Yeah.
That's where I disagree. I have a different like output on that, because they did do that with New Fantasyland. They
Yes.
had the concept of that. They announced that at D23. They were supposed to have Cinderella's French chateau. They were going to have the Woodland Cottage of Sleeping Beauty, Pixie Hollow with Tinkerbell and everything. That was all signed, sealed, delivered. And then when Tom Staggs came in, he told the Imagineers, he was like, I have 2 young boys. This is nice, but this doesn't pique their interest. And that's when they changed the whole thing. Not the whole thing, but a lot, where Pixie Hollow became Storybook Circus. Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty became Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So it's not out of the realm that Disney has done this before, because they have.
Yeah.
And it's not saying that they would can Avatar. It's just, if we're already delaying it already for the Eastern Gateway, or to alleviate a lot of the parking lots or what have you, whatever it is, all you're doing is saying we are going to wait. It's not that we're not going to have it, but we would rather give you, instead of an experience or a destination, we're going to give you, you guys deserve a full-fledged land like they have in Florida.
Sure.
We're going to hold off for Disneyland Forward at a later time to bring you Avatar. But in the meantime, here's Zootopia. I really don't think people would stop and say, oh, Disney doesn't know what they're doing. I think, honestly, I mean, yeah, you're going to have people that are going to, for their clickbait and everything, they're always going to have the negative naysayers out there that's going to say something. But I think for majority that Disney is aiming more towards the normies and the families anyway. I don't know. I think a family with several kids would lean more towards Zootopia than Avatar.
Yeah. No, 100%. And Remy D actually says, if Avatar was indeed confirmed going here, it will be one of the biggest sightline wizardry you'll see from Disney.
Yeah, they would have to. Yeah, I would love to see how they manage those sightline issues.
Oh,
I don't even know how they really could.
no, they can't.
I don't know how they can actually.
Well, okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so part of Disneyland Forward, and I've been watching videos on this. Part of Disneyland Forward is that Disney, for the Disneyland Resort, got approval to have 4 landmarks. 4 landmarks, so buildings, whatever, but 4 for any for up to 300 feet. Okay. And you mentioned about Zootopia. Zootopia was one of them. Avatar is another one. Okay. Then there's 2 more. And it excludes the Toy Story parking lot, which could be the 3rd gate. So it's between DCA, Disneyland, and the expansions, going towards the Simba parking lot and the Lilo and Stitch parking lot. So you already have 2 IPs, right? You have those 2. What would be your other 2 landmark buildings, or what be that would be 300 feet? I know what my 2 would be, but what would be your 2?
You mean like as far as like with like an IP?
Yeah,
That
an
would
IP.
make it 300 feet.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, I mean, if it did hit 300, I would say Arendelle. Something.
Okay, so that's three. Okay.
Um,
What would be your fourth?
fourth, something big. Is this something like that's already like announced, or like that they could announce that could be 300 feet?
That they could announce
They
because
could announce. Okay, yeah. So Arendelle, and then
it begs the
I
question
would.
on your fourth one.
What's that?
It begs the question on your fourth choice.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what that fourth one would be. What would yours be?
So the fourth one, because we all know, and it's actually going down again, for a short time, but it's going down again, is the Matterhorn. Could they possibly rip that down, build it back up, and make it 300 feet? And if they do that, that begs the question, if they go that direction, being that it would be 300 feet tall, could it be possible that the world of Arendelle could go in that spaghetti bowl area?
If they do, yeah. I mean, even if they don't make the Matterhorn 300, I think even if they just rebuild it
Yeah,
and like kind of spruce it up where you could still see it as the Matterhorn, it's still known as the Matterhorn.
sure.
Um, yeah, I could see them putting Arendelle in that area, like where Autopia, the subs.
Okay.
Yeah,
So let's cancel out let's cancel out Malhorn. So if you had to choose an IP or a landmark, it could be anything. What would be your fourth choice? I know the Disneyland, the Cinderella's Castle is not an option, even though I think it, to be honest with you, it could be a little bit bigger.
see, I just don't think that I'm trying to even think like what they could even do with 300 feet because Cinderella's castle. Now, again, it looks much bigger because they do the optic illusion, but it's 189 feet, so it's already 101 feet off, and that thing is still massive. So I'm trying to think what they could even. Remy D says Stark Tower. That would be interesting.
That
Um,
that would probably replace the Hyperion, but then you're going to have sightline issues with Avatar if you do that.
yeah. Sean Arani actually says Space Mountain.
That could be possible.
Now that could be. I could see them doing a little bit more of a grandiose Space Mountain if they decide to go like how they did with. I mean, I know it was the OLC, decided upon it, but like in Tokyo, where they like took down their Space Mountain and rebuilt it from scratch.
They could.
I like that. I like that, Sean. That's actually a really good idea.
Same here.
I'm trying to think of another one that could be kind of big in scale.
I don't think there really is any.
I'm trying to run through. I mean, I don't know if it would be like in the 300 feet, but I mean, like you have Wakanda. You could kind of have like on a little bit of a bigger scale. I don't think it would hit 300 feet though. As I said, I don't know if anything would really hit 300 feet, especially like right in smack dab in the middle of Anaheim.
Yeah.
I just think that they have the option if they wanted to go that route. They have the clearance for it,
Well,
sort of speak.
okay. So let me ask you this: being that it's not zoned for this permission right now,
Right.
the third gate.
Right.
Okay. So what if they revisit the Westcott idea, but instead of like the spaceship Earth type globe, or as I call it, golf ball, they went the other direction, which was the second iteration of Westcott from the old plans, which was this big giant spire.
Well, they could do that. Actually, what someone had told me was if they were to go the Westcott route,
Uh-huh.
it would just be like world showcase.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the future side of it. It would be like the interpretation of like going around to different countries, different parts of the world, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So you could kind of do like a monument of that, like something that represents like world culture or something. So yeah, I guess they could do maybe like a spire or another kind of globe-ish, but nothing like where it's Spaceship Earth. Spaceship Earth is Epcot. You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to see a replicated icon of a park. You
No.
know,
No, I don't either. But any last thoughts about the Disneyland Resort? You know, before we jump back east.
I wish like I could just come up with a fourth one because you asked me. Like I'm really trying to like run through my head of. I just think right now, unless Disney wanted to go back to like some of the like older, not older movies, but like the movies that we grew up with. But like some of the newer movies right now, I don't really see anything like moving forth except for the ones that we mentioned. But if I
Yeah.
had to pick a fourth, I would want something from the Renaissance era. Beauty
Yeah.
and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King. I know that they're building it out in in Paris, but give us something out here would be really
Yeah.
cool.
That would be very interesting. And Shane actually says, sorry, I don't think we get a new Tomorrowland in D23, but I could see them refurbing with new track and plussing it up, meaning Space Mountain.
Yeah, I think so yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I don't see them announcing a Tomorrowland at this one. I
No.
honestly don't even really see them announcing a new Tomorrowland in 2028. I would say honestly 2030 and beyond, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay, so let's just play devil's advocate here. So it's 2026 right now.
Yeah.
Let's say they do announce a new Tomorrowland in 2030. That's 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Do you honestly think it would be wise for them to update the track at Space Mountain at Disneyland, being that they would probably rip out Space Mountain and rebuild it like the Tokyo version?
If they were to do that, I would be okay with, but honestly, the Space Mountain that needs the help, honestly, is Magic Kingdoms.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
That one is
Really rough.
horrible. It is horrible.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that. Well, speaking of Magic Kingdom and Tomorrowland, which is one of my favorite parks now, I'm obsessed with it. July 5th. It was July 5th, right? If memory serves me correct.
Today.
Today.
Yeah.
That the last day to ride the Carousel of Progress in Tomorrowland was today. Now, if you want to kind of give us a walkthrough of what we're going to be looking at, what updates you would like to see besides the Walt animatronic, and what they could possibly fix that they haven't fixed in quite some time.
Absolutely. So first off, I just have to say I am so glad that we were able to see it for how like it was in its originality. Not originality when it first opened, but like of how it's been this rendition for how long. And actually, this is the most I think I've seen a line for this
Crazy
attraction. So but I am glad that you and Tommy were able to see it. I'm glad I was able to show Abby and everything of how this, attraction was. But yes, today was the last day. It is now going to be down until sometime next year. And yeah, they're going to add in a Walt animatronic that's basically going to open the intro to the new Carousel of Progress. We're going to get some altered scenes, new animatronics of the family, maybe some new dialogue. I think a lot of John's wife, Sarah, is going to have a little bit more of a bigger part in the show. And I also believe the final scene, the Christmas scene and everything of how it shows like the family in the future with progress and everything, that I think is going to be completely changed. Like that whole scene is going to be changed, but a lot of people are thinking they may add some scenes, that the attraction may be a little bit more longer
Oh wow.
than what it actually originally was. And I'm so glad that they're doing this. I think it needs some TLC. I think it's overdue. I love how they're incorporating Walt Disney into it. And this tells me that the Carousel of Progress is here to stay. The fact
Yeah.
that they're actually putting money into this, it's not going anywhere. And that was a huge worry for me for many years. For the building itself, I hope that they get rid of the kind of like the musky smell inside the building. I hope they like really clear it out and vent it out and get whatever it is. I hope we get brand new chairs and everything, maybe new carpeting. Like I hope they just like give us not even just a brand new show, like completely rip out the whole theater. Gut it.
Wow.
Obviously the mechanism can stay. Like add like keep the mechanism there, but I mean like everything else, like just
Start over.
yeah.
Wow. And I do agree with you. The chairs inside the theater were a little on the rough side. They weren't bad, but they weren't the best. I do agree with you on that. The air conditioning was nice. That was really nice.
Oh yeah, of course. That's like
Oh,
gotta love
that's
that in the Florida heat.
oh man, peaceful. Um, I do want to think that they might upgrade some of the animatronics though, like to the new AA animatronics. So I do think they're gonna do that on some of them. Maybe not all of them, but some of them.
I think what they'll do is it'll still keep the look and integrity of the characters, but
Yeah,
yeah, like the inner skeleton will be the newer AA, sort of like what they did with the Country Bears.
yeah, no, 100%. Because the Country Bears, my God, I was not expecting that. All of them, ran smoothly. Like, I mean, I was I was watching the Country Bears like every single one, and I'm like, okay, this is like the perfect like moment because not one of them had a mechanical failure. Not one of them. It was perfect. Like you couldn't get more perfect if you tried. And I do want to remind everybody that both the Carousel of Progress and the Country Bear Jamboree is on my members only content. So definitely go check that out. Become a member today. I think even Hollow Gelato has both shows on his members only. So if you want to become a member of Hollow Gelato, definitely both of us have those shows on there. So you'll definitely have a reference point from the old Carousel Progress to now this updated version. And I want to ask you before we jump over to Universal, because I have 3 videos from Bio Reconstruct I want to kind of go over with you on is do you think at D23 on the showroom floor somewhere, do you think we might get a preview of what the Walt animatronic's gonna look like and be like in person or maybe like a video?
That's actually, I think so,
Really?
because I don't think it's going to take as long as like what a lot of these bigger projects is going to take for this. I think they'll get this done pretty quickly. So they already kind of have to have a prototype ready. I could see them maybe showcasing it. I don't know if they'll have him. They may have him on the showroom floor, or they may just have like a model of like the animatronic, if that makes sense. So it's like he's not moving, but he's he's still, but you could see like what he looks like.
Yeah.
Or they may have it as like a video format where they recorded it up in Imagineering that they may showcase it on Saturday. Yeah, I think honestly they may have something special for us for the Carousel of Progress.
No, 100%. And Shane Narani says, did you see the behind the scenes video of Great America? The mechanics behind that is amazing. I did see that video.
I haven't. I have to check that out. I've been busy. I've been busy all weekend, literally.
Yes.
Universal, Disney, and everything. I gotta catch up on my stuff.
Not to mention Chasing Tomorrow.
Chasing tomorrow. Like, yeah, it's like
Oh my gosh. So I want to, like I said, I want to cover 3 videos. These are all from Bio Reconstruct. These are aerial photo or aerial video. The first one is Jurassic Park River Adventure. I want to get your thoughts on it because there's some interesting stuff. Clearly, right off the bat, looking at the screen, it looks like one of the animatronics is getting like a new like mechanical like neck and head, but the dinosaur is still going to be there. And a lot of people thought, okay, well, maybe you're going to get rid of the old animatronics, input new animatronics. So I want to get your thought process behind that.
you know what that kind of reminds me of? You know when you take a bite out of an onion ring and it doesn't pull out right away, you just like pull off the breading and the onion's just like hanging there. That's what
Yeah,
that reminds me of. I don't know why.
a
Oh,
100%.
anyway, that was your question. Yeah, they've been working a lot on Jurassic Park down in Florida. So I think honestly, we're going to get all kinds of I don't know if like it's going to be like state of the art animatronic. They may have like an updated version, but yeah, they've been working on those because yeah, they've been down for quite some time where they weren't functioning. And you have to also think too, when you have animatronics that are specialized that have to be in water, go in water, or by water, it has to be a certain kind of degree. And I think that's where Disney has that issue with Tiana's, is because the newer AAs aren't meant to be by water. So with the precipitation and everything, that's what like closes those animatronics down. So yeah, I'm very curious to see like when it's done, like what updates and how they're done are going to look. Because I mean, they've been working on this for some time now. Because Jurassic was even down when we were out there.
Yeah. My whole thing is I think for now they decided not to go the route of Jurassic World, but I do find it interesting. A video I watched from someone else's channel, I forgot who they were, but they were pointing out that this ride sits in the Jurassic World themed area because when you look at it, there's 2 versions of Jurassic Park. There's the original themed area, and then there's this Jurassic World, and they're like right next to each other. And
Yeah.
this ride sits on the Jurassic World side of the both different timelines of
Yeah.
Jurassic. Um, so it kind of culture shocks me a little bit that they just didn't retheme this to Jurassic World, being that it would be down the same amount of time that our Jurassic World was, being rethemed from Jurassic Park to Jurassic World. So I
Right.
do find it interesting that they're sticking with the Jurassic Park. I believe me, I get why they did it, but is this a band-aid for something that's future um is unknown and possibly could eventually be Jurassic World?
I they may, but I think honestly, for how much work and time that they've taken on this, I can't foresee if it reopens as Jurassic Park, I don't see it becoming World anytime soon.
Well,
Because like it's been down for how long, and if they keep it at as Park, plus they did a lot of fixer uppers on the building, like when it got damaged from the storms and everything,
yeah.
because there was like a gaping hole inside the side of the building at one point. I would want them to keep this as Jurassic Park, to be honest. I get, that you had mentioned it's on the world side because, again, we have world out here. I
Yeah.
love how it is 2 completely different I don't want to say storyline because well, I mean, it kind of is. You know, it's the same kind of ride system. It's the same ride layout, but it's done differently of the time eras of Park and World.
Oh, sure.
And I love how they're different. I love how this pays tribute to the classic original Steven Spielberg 1993 blockbuster film. Like that to me, like you have to pay tribute to the original.
No,
Um,
100%.
what I would love for them to do though is take the elements of the newer technical of world that's out here and infuse it in Park.
Okay. That's what I
That's
was
what
going
I
to
want
ask
to do.
you.
Like I don't want to go in there and see, okay, it still looks outdated. I want them to add in elements from world that's out here, but keep it Jurassic Park.
Well, see, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, obviously, I don't think we're going to get the opening scene that we have out here at Hollywood, where you are going into the tunnel and you see the Monosaurus on
Oh, the
both sides.
Mosasaur. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think we're
yeah,
gonna get
no,
that.
no. But I think some of the animatronics, like on the inside parts, could be Jurassic World technology, but still have the skin of the 1993 theming.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would want.
Yeah. So I'm glad they're working on this. I'm glad they're refurbing it. Um, my only question to you though is if they do decide to, how can I put this? If they do decide to eventually retheme it to Jurassic World, let's say they do eventually. You don't you think it's probably going to be another probably 5 to 10 years from now. The reason why I bring that up is because there's so much going on with Universal Orlando in general, where you have in this park you have the whole Mythos area, or not Mythos, but Lost Continent area again ripped apart. You
Yeah.
have two brand new expansions happening at Epic Universe alongside a event space building. Then on top of that, you have the Studios Park dealing with Fast and Furious Orlando Drift. Drives me nuts. They still call it Hollywood, but whatever. And you have every
Yeah,
all this.
there's just so much going on right now, especially again while they're still working on this. You said 5 to 10 years. I wouldn't even say 5. I'd say like 10 to 15 plus years that they
Okay,
could potentially think about it, because I think Universal has bigger fish to fry. You have
yeah,
to think. You had mentioned Lost Continent. They're already ripping it up. That's going to be one of the main headliner areas for a while at IOA, which I think we're all kind of aiming for. A lot of people are back and forth between Pokemon and Zelda. I think it's going to be Pokemon, to be honest.
okay.
Um, over at Epic, yeah, they're adding in the new event space. They are adding another attraction to Dark Universe. You know, we're all thinking it's going to be the Creature of the Black Lagoon, or it could be something completely different. They even have the expansion pads for 2 more portals that we still have to find out what are the 2 new ones that have to go into Epic Universe. And then with the Studios Park, as you had mentioned, you have Fast and Furious Orlando Drift that they're building. Eventually, they're going to do something with the Simpsons area that could potentially become something. So I think honestly, and then they'll give some breathing room, you know, to let people like actually enjoy things. But I think honestly, a little bit of a hot take, if they were to change another land in IOA after Lost Continent, I think honestly they would eye Toon Lagoon before Jurassic Park, because again, Jurassic Park is still well known
Yeah.
and they're already working on it. So I think if they were to have done it, this would have been the time to do it. Being that they didn't, I think it's going to stay Park for a while.
Okay.
And Remy D's comment, and Remy D, I have a question to your comment. Jurassic Park, in my opinion, is Universal's Galaxy's Edge problem. Not sure if Universal knows what to do with it. Now, when you say it's like it has a Galaxy Edge problem, do you mean like there's
The
not enough
timeline.
life in the land?
I think you saw about timeline confliction. Like I was mentioning,
Okay.
you have the 1993, theming, and then you have the 2017, 2018 theming of Jurassic World. So how's that commingle with each other?
Right.
You know what
I
I mean?
think Universal, like right out the gate, they were like, you know what? We don't even care about these timelines. Let them intertwine. You have an attraction for park, you have an attraction for world. I meant mixing Jurassic World and Jurassic Park conflicts, yeah. But also no light either, no dinos in the background.
So like kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I completely understand that. So maybe that's something they could address. One of the things we're looking at is what's the restaurant in Jurassic Park area that we passed going to Velocicoaster? It's Terrence, or I can't even
I know
think.
what you mean. I always forget the name.
Terron Terrence or something like that
Yeah.
restaurant.
I always forget the names of those because I hate to really say this. I don't even bother with those. I just get my reservation at Mythos and I'm good.
Well, the reason why I bring that up, because they're going to be closing that restaurant in Jurassic Park to make that the new Hammond's restaurant. That's what's rumored to go there.
Right.
That would be the upscaled restaurant in the park, since they're going to get rid of Mythos. But see, now people are saying 2027 for Mythos to go, it would be the last thing to go in the Lost Continent. My question begs, do they do it early 2027 or do they do it late 2027 to get rid of that?
This may be the bias in me of how much I want them to keep Mythos around as long as they possibly can.
Oh, sure.
I would keep Mythos all the way to the very end. Let them announce what's actually going in the Lost Continent. Build it all up. Build around Mythos. Build everything up, and then at the last minute, close it down and retheme it. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Is that what Universal's going to do?
No.
I don't think so. I would love for them to do that, but I would think, I would hope.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be fall of 27, but I just have a sneaky suspicion it's going to be early 27, unfortunately.
100%. And JJ.
Sorry. No. Go ahead. Ignore me. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. JJ mentioned as older Gen Z Pokemon is going to make Universal millions, if not billions. That's why I kind of feel they're getting rid of the Lost Continent for to put in this IP and just bank off of it.
Isn't it something with Pokemon that it is still growing to this day?
Oh,
it is the biggest franchise in the world. A franchise that we grew up with.
Yeah,
we watched the TV show. We watched the movies. We collected the cards. I spent hundreds of dollars at freaking Burger King trying to get the toys. That all that stuff. Now kids today, my son into Pokemon, and now he's 16, and now kids even younger than him are into Pokemon. And look at how many generations, and Pokemon is still going. I remember when it started out, there was 150 Pokemon, and they used to do the Pokemon rap. And now I lost track of how many they keep on adding more, and the possibilities are endless with that. Yes, I agree with you, JJ. I think honestly, I'll take it even one step further. Not even the Gen Z, but I think the multi-generational, everyone will have something to look forward to with Pokemon if Universal does it right. They have to do Pokemon right. And that's why a lot of people were saying, "Oh, they're going to put Pokemon in the studios replacing the Simpsons." If they do that, that is going to be, you talk about sightline issues, that thing's going to look ugly.
Yeah. No, 100%.
It belongs, honestly, it doesn't, I would even say, I mean, I would put it in Epic before the studios, to be honest. But I think, honestly, where it really needs to go is Islands of Adventure.
Yeah.
Because Islands, other than Velocicoaster and Hagrid's, I mean, that was the last time we really got anything substantial.
100%.
Oh, go ahead.
No, Remy D says, I just hope they don't invite those inconsiderate Pokemon card resellers into the park if they sell limited edition Pokemon cards.
Well, I don't know if they would invite them, but I could see like that happening, that if they have like specialty limited edition in park edition Pokemon cards, I could see resellers coming in sort of like how they do with Disney with the popcorn buckets. And hopefully if they do that, Universal can have a better like restraint on that.
Yeah.
Oh, and to before you move on, Conductor, John Make It Rains, I wouldn't be surprised if Universal announces stuff right after Disney's D23. I completely agree with you, John. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they announce stuff that weekend while D23 is going on.
100%.
That is literally how they do it. When one announces something, the other one, they love their battles.
And JJ says, do you all think Universal sometime in the near future will get the theme park rights to DC Comics? George, I'm going to let you answer that one.
I think they probably would at some point, because I know Universal was eyeing DC in the very beginning. And they had some issues with everything. And then that's when they went for Marvel. Because Marvel was going bankrupt, I think, at that time. So really, Universal helped Marvel out. But I think now with Disney owning majority of Marvel, they're going to want those, on the East Coast, Florida parks.
Sure.
And right now, Universal is at a gridlock because they can't change Marvel Superhero Island. They can only spruce it up, but they can't alter it in any way. At some point, they're going to probably want to put something in it. Although I will say, I think Universal does a better job right now. Until we see with the expansion of Avengers Campus, I hold judgment. But right now, of what both companies have, I prefer Marvel Superhero Island over Avengers Campus.
100%.
I'm sorry, I do. I love Universal's take on how they do the comics. So, JJ, to your question, if they were to change the theme and do DC comic style with Batman, with Superman, like with the villains of like the Penguin, the Joker, that would be really cool.
100%.
And it would be a win-win because Disney could then have Marvel, and then Universal can do DC.
Oh, definitely. Shane Narani says, what kind of attraction would you have for Pokemon? And John says, I would do a water attraction with Squirtle. And then Remy D says, Sean, that is the question. I just don't know. I just don't want another attraction that requires work or gaming aspects.
Okay. I agree with you, Remy, on that. I'm so done over the like gaming aspects and working for, like they already have it, like with Mario Kart. I'm not a huge fan of. You have like the shooter games like Buzz Lightyear and Toy Story Mania, and then you also have Smuggler's Run, which you all know how I feel about Smuggler's Run. Yeah, I hope it's actually where we could actually just be immersed in a ride. That's what I would love to see. But that is the question, really, is like, what kind of ride do you do? And I'm actually going to go off of what John was saying, because there were talks that they were going to do like a Pokemon Snap. Now, again, there you go again, where you're working. Like, do you have to pretend like you're taking pictures of the Pokemon or what have you? But then again, the video game was set where you're like riding in a boat. Now, having said that, really, to be honest, as much as I think Pokemon is going to go in Lost Continent, I would have put Pokemon in where Toon Lagoon is. You already have the foundation of it being a water area. Dudley Do Right's Ripsaw Falls and Popeye and Bluto's Build Right Barges are both water attractions. You already have the color scheme. It's very bright. It's very vibrant. I don't know. That's what I would have done. But other than it being a water, I would love for it to be a very high upscale dark ride where you have like these highly immersive audio animatronics of the Pokemon creatures.
100%. So I want to play this video again. This is from Bio Reconstruct. This is just an overview of Epic Universe. I know Hollow Gelato was mentioning it, and actually something that just popped up on social media will be right after this, and then we'll call it for a night. But George, I want to get your perspective, because when you look at this event space right here, okay, it's going to be a massive footprint, and my whole thing on it is the mere fact that, you know, this could have been an expansion to Super Nintendo World.
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask you, because they said that there was expansion pads, several of them surrounding Super Nintendo World. So this takes up one of them.
This takes up one of them, but a lot of people maybe insisted that the park icon, the teddy bear, when it had an indoor dark ride in this spot, a standalone attraction in this spot,
and it would be part of Celestial.
Yeah, it would be a Celestial park.
I mean, I'd be okay with that, even though that it would take away from Super Nintendo. I mean, if it adds another attraction that allows for people to go in, and it adds something more to Celestial Park, I would be okay with that.
Now, do you think that was smart, building a event space in this plot of land, or do you think
no?
Okay,
I think honestly that was probably one of the worst decisions Universal could have done. They have so much room that they could have put it even a little bit like off property, but it still be connected. I would take every bit of precious expansion pads that's already integrated in this park, and I'd be filling it in, because Epic Universe needs to be a full day experience. And not saying that it isn't, but it needs a lot more indoor attractions, especially if it's going to rain and what have you. And as I said, if they do that teddy bear attraction for Celestial, I'm cool with it. But ideally, other than that, this should have been an added addition to Super Nintendo.
I kind of feel, I don't know if it's big enough for a whole land. You know, like if it was Zelda, I think it couldn't have fit one attraction. And I don't know if that was justification for them putting this event space, because if you kind of look on the top left of your corner, right where my mouse is, I think that's where they're going to put the expansion to Super Nintendo World, right there. And that's where Zelda's going to be at.
Yeah. And that's great. That's perfect. But like, you had 2 expansion pads. Why? Like, they could have did an ultra, because here's the thing. You call it Super Nintendo World. Not you, like us. We call it Super Nintendo World. Universal calls it Super Nintendo World.
Sure.
That could have been easily another IP. That could have been Star Fox. That could have been Kirby. That could have been Luigi's Mansion. That could have been anything.
Yeah. No, 100%. Or like I said, it could have been that Celestial Park ride.
Yeah. Or yeah, I would have done that. I would have done anything of that nature than it being an event space.
Because I kind of feel
to me,
sure.
And Disney, and honestly, because as Bricky mentioned, right now that's what they're utilizing for the Hyperion, And
Yeah.
it does bring in the park revenue and money because people block out these areas for these event spaces. But to me, it just seems so corporate like.
Yeah.
That to me, I would not integrate into a theme park.
Yeah.
That's just me.
And Remy D says, I agree with you, George, but this event space thing aligns with Universal's persistence on making which the conference theme park. My
And
and
then he continues, says, which is sad. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I was saying, Remy D. It's like they have this persona where it's like, oh yeah, we can make bigger bulk of money of let's build a convention type conference building that we could have private galas and parties and stuff like that. It's like, come on, like you could do that on property, but keep it out of the theme park space.
well, well, see, okay, this is very interesting you mention this because I'm like, okay, if they want to have corporate events, each theme park, it's almost like verbatim. They always have a hotel. Like Epic Universe has the Grand Helios. They have banquet rooms, for God's sakes. Throw the convention stuff in the banquet rooms at the hotel. And then
Yeah,
if you want to close the theme park down early for a after corporate event, fine, do that. Don't
yeah,
take up actual space for a event building. Now, I do have to say though, to give Universal credit, and I'm not giving them much credit, but to give them credit, the building that is gonna be this event space, it does match the rest of the park. It's not like it's gonna stick out with a sore thumb. Like the
right. And
theming,
that's the only thing it has going for it.
yeah,
I hope honestly in time, because it could still be a quick fix. Just because they're building it now doesn't mean it's going to be there forever.
yeah,
So they could eventually still turn it into something later on. You
yeah.
know, I
Well,
kind of
see,
hope one of the little flickers of the Burning Blade Tavern just like blow in that direction.
oh my gosh. You know what's funny though? When we went to Epic, all three of us, me, you, Tommy, and Abby, actually four of us, um, the two restaurants, the Italian restaurant and the Mexican grill restaurant, were not open, and they're still vacant to this day. And it just flabbergastes me that they'll start construction on a vent space that pretty much it will get used, but not consistently. I don't think. I could be
Yeah,
wrong. But they haven't moved anywhat forward with those two restaurants.
and they need them. They
Yes.
need more restaurant space, especially if they continue to expand out Epic Universe. Both both the Italian and the Mexican one need to move forward, and hopefully they do. Um, but in the meantime, um, that Pizza Moon, I'm sorry, the best
Oh,
theme park pizza you will ever find anywhere.
100%.
And then also the Atlanta, what was it, Atlantis, um, or Atlantica? No, not Atlantica, Atlantis restaurant. Um, that was really good. I even enjoyed the Blue Dragon. I know you didn't eat there with us. It was me, Abby, and Tommy, but I still thought it was good food. It was like it wasn't great food, but it was there were some things. I would say like out of the three, that's like at my bottom.
Yeah.
But Pizza Moon, like that's
Well,
just like top
I'm
tier.
I'm going to tell you this. When we go back down to Orlando, if for whatever reason we do have a universal day, let's just say hypothetically we do.
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you what, the restaurant, and I can't pronounce it because it's French, and I'd be insulting the French government if I even attempted to try to say that name. But the restaurant inside the Harry Potter land,
Yes.
the fact that I got that dessert crepe Like
Oh,
I mean,
that crepe was,
oh,
oh my gosh.
I can eat like 10 of those straight with my
Because I
eyes.
wanted to go back. I really wanted to get another one. I mean, also on top to the fact of that the audio didn't record for our video, which I was extremely bummed with that.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind dining in there like for other stuff because they had a laundry
Yeah,
list.
they
Like
had some other good stuff that I wanted to try too. I agree.
100%. One thing I will tell you though is the amount of theming and decor that went inside that restaurant is like bizarre. Like, I mean, it was like beautiful. Oh my God. You would think it was a Vegas restaurant in one
Yeah.
of the high premium hotels. It was ridiculous. But speaking of Harry Potter, this is on sadly to say
But
a negative note.
right.
Uh,
Really quick. I just want to just uh, catch up with a few of the other things. So JJ said a real life Metropolis and Gotham City would be epic, and also I would consider putting a DC land in Epic Universe. That's interesting. And then Sean Narani says Gotham City, you can have cast members coming out and mugging guests in the streets.
oh geez. Oh my
And
God.
John, yeah, no, it's yeah, that area we were talking about is not Harry Potter. Unfortunately, it is just for corporate conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Well, speaking of Harry Potter, to kind of tie things off, and again, I know it's on a negative note, unfortunately, but BioReconstruct actually noticed this at the Battle of Ministry, which is not good. It looks like we're having some cracking and peeling of some of the floors and walls inside the ride queue, which is
That's interesting because I thought that they used like I know like tile, but I thought that they used something that was more intact than peeling. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Now, are you at all surprised that this happened? Are you surprised that they went this cheap? What's your thought
Yeah,
process?
I actually am surprised they kind of went that cheap with that material because that caught me by surprise. Like I was not expecting that. I thought it was a way different material that they used where that it can crack, but not like crack where it peels off the layer. What doesn't surprise me is the wear and tear because again, this attraction is very popular, especially in the Florida heat, in the Florida rain. And again, Epic Universe doesn't have a lot of indoor rides and attractions that a lot of the commute is going through this ride. So I could see where it could have quick wear and tear, but
Yeah,
I just didn't think it would be to this degree. I was kind
no,
of shocked by that.
no, 100%. So I just thought I would report that because I saw that on social media as we're talking about, Universal, and I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting that. Um, so my whole thing is hopefully they could fix that. I know it's a little late to rip up the floor, but I kind of feel like they should have not done that. But then again, can you really put marble in there? Because if you put marble, that's beyond expensive.
Yeah.
I understand that, but it's like you can't be having that either. It doesn't look good. It kind of reminds me of Super Nintendo World at Hollywood when it first opened, and people were pointing out, like on the rolling hills, it looked like construction workers took hammers and made all these little small dents in the damn hillside of the facade. It's like, what the heck is that? It did not look right. But I want to thank you, Hollow Gelato, for joining me on this live stream. You're always amazing, always fantastic. Again, we're 39 days out. 39 days out from D23. I can't wait. And if many of you don't know, you could check it up on my YouTube channel at ThemePark Conductor. Me and George did a video, a recorded video of D23 releasing some information about a laundry list of presentations that are going to be taking place at the convention center, not the Honda Center, but the convention center. I definitely urge everybody to go check that out because a lot of great presentations are going to happen. I know George is particularly um, excited for one of them that he definitely wants to see 100% guarantee. So definitely go check out that video. But without further ado, Hollow Gelato, where can everyone find you on social media?
Absolutely. And Conductor, thank you so much for having me on again. It's always a pleasure talking shop with you with all things theme park news and announcements and what have you. And welcome in, Davey. Glad to see you. You were able to jump in. Doing good tonight. Always doing good, especially when I'm doing a live with Theme Park Conductor. But in any case, what Conductor was mentioning, yes, we are pretty much on the horizon for D23. They gave us the first little wave of news and announcements of what we could possibly see at the Ultimate Fan event. Being that the 4th of July weekend is over, we are moving into the second week of July. They're going to start cranking up more news and info on the event, especially because they're going to want to have it ready before July 20th when they send out the emails for people to partake in the lottery system for guaranteed seating to some of the panels and presentations. Also, as a little side note to that, July 10th, I believe, is the final day for transferring of badges. So you have up until July 10th if you want to change it over to someone else's name. That's how long you have till July 13th. They will be sending out the badges. And and July 20th, that's when they'll be sending out the links. And then on August, I forget, it was sometime in August, we'll receive emails back of what we actually were able to receive. Again, you may not get anything. Again, it's the lottery system. And then, as I said, in between all that, we're going to get more news on all that. So definitely look out for that. We will have our eyes and ears open to social media because when all that stuff comes out, we will be reporting it on Hollow Gelato and here on Theme Park Conductor. And then, of course, we all got content coming on the horizon because of D23. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell on both our channels because we're going to have content coming out the wazoo. Not even just that weekend, but almost that entire week. It's basically D23 week. So yeah, and then we got Halloween coming up with Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, Oogie Boogie Bash at Disneyland, and then right around the corner, then we're going to have Christmas. So again, going like 2026, we're going to be heading it out with a bang. But in any case, if you want to find me and all that content detail, please go check out Hollow Gelato, where Abby and I cover all things theme parks, Disney, Universal, Knott's Berry Farm, Disney Cruise Line, life vlogs, event vlogs, out of theater movie reviews. We do it all. And of course, follow us on Instagram under Hollow Gelato. And then also you can follow me personally on Instagram under the Disney Italiano and also on X under the Disney Italiano.
Absolutely. Always great to have Hollow Gelato on the channel. And again, like he mentioned, a lot more content is going to be coming out. Once D23 releases more information, me and Hollow Gelato will do another video that will be up on the channel. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then while we're at the convention, lots and lots of updates. And I mean, like every other second, your phone's going to be buzzing. It's going to be crazy. But definitely turn on your notification so you never miss any updates from Theme Park Conductor or Hollow Gelato. But I'm your host, Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, like this live stream here, where we have amazing guests like the one, the only Hollow Gelato with his spicy Italian theme park opinions, and so many others as we break down all this theme park news. We analyze it, we give our speculations, we talk rumors, we get the chat involved. It's such a great time. I encourage you all to check out Hollow Gelato and myself, Theme Park Conductor, on all platforms, because we're constantly updating and posting like crazy when news drops. We are like Johnny on the spot with that, but I want to wish everyone a wonderful night, wonderful morning, wherever you might be. Stay cool or stay warm wherever you might be, and I will see you guys next Sunday on Conductor Sunday live stream. Have a good night, everybody. Peace out.
Take care, everyone.